Hi, we're back cooking with Sharon, and today I have something special. I was craving some lobster bisque, and why not make it ourselves instead of going out and trying to buy it somewhere? So let's get started. As you see here, we have a lot. This may take a little bit longer than what we're typically doing as far as our recipes, but I guarantee you're going to enjoy it at the end. So what I've already pre-done is our lobster. I actually took some lobster tails and steamed them. And I also had some lobster claws. I took the meat out of those. I'm going to take the actual shells, and we're going to make a broth out of the lobster shells. We're going to start off with that, and I'm going to take just the meat from the tail out. We're going to cut it. We're going to put this along with a couple, take the shells, take a couple tablespoons of butter. We're going to put it in a pot here and melt this down. And we're going to take all we're making like a stock. So we're going to take all the empty shells that we have here and put it into this pot. All the meat has been taken out, as you see here. And the butter's in there. Just make sure you don't put any of the meat. I'm going to take the rest of that lobster tail out. And we're going to cook this down until the shells are brown, somewhat brown. So we have all of our shells here. We have our lobster meat right here. And we should be good to go. Okay, so let's see. I may need to add a little bit more butter. But I have several ingredients here that I've already prepared. One being chopped onions. We have some chopped mushrooms, carrots, celery. I have some sherry. The sherry and the white, oh my gosh, drawing a blank. The white wine, if you will. You can actually buy this at the store, or you can use a dry white wine that you may have at home already, or you can get a cooking white wine. I actually today have a cooking white wine, so just FYI, no big deal. I didn't have any right here that I wanted to open, so we're going to, like I said, take our shells, and this is going to cook for, I don't know, probably about 8 minutes or so. And we'll make a good stock with this. The shell should start to lose the red color. And you know that it is actually cooking down. Okay. So we're going to let that cook for about, like I said, 8 minutes or so. And while it's cooking, I'm going to cut up some of this lobster meat. You want to keep some of the pieces whole, and then we're going to keep some like in chunks that we're going to put in our lobster bisque. So like a piece like this, I'm going to save for the top. Those are nice pieces. Oh, I'm missing the shell. We'll save that, but something like this, a tail, we can chop it up. And unlike what you would see in a restaurant, most lobster bisques that you may get don't have a whole bunch of lobster. But since we're making ours at home and from scratch, ours will have a lot of lobster in it. Because that's why you get it, right? The lobster bisque is for the lobster. All right. Let's continue cutting our lobster. Let me turn this down. I'm going to add in just a little bit more butter. So about 2 tablespoons. Lower heat. Okay. And just make your pieces of lobster. They can be chunks of lobster. They don't have to be big pieces. Personal preference. I'm going to make mine kind of like medium. But again, I took my lobster tails in the beginning and I steamed them. So steamed them, and it took maybe, I don't know, about 5 minutes. I was just trying to cut down a step that we had to do here. You can pre-make your lobster, or you know, some of the lobster claws and the lobster meat you can find in the store already done, and that's an option for you as well. But if you want to just go all out, okay, get the lobster tails. You can find them in the frozen section, and it's smelling really good. Okay, and then I have I think it's a half a cup of sherry that we're going to add to this momentarily. We'll let that cook down a little bit more. And we'll continue to cut our lobster meat. And actually, I probably have a lot more lobster than what the recipe really calls for. But like I said, I wanted mine to be really full of meat. You can't go wrong. When you're cutting out this lobster claw, just make sure that that piece that's in the middle of it, you take out. It's a little tough piece. Okay, this is cooking down nicely. Again, your shells should turn a little, I mean, they're going to be bright red anyways, or orange, but you also want it to have some brownness to it. Okay. Now we're going to, I'll leave some of this for garnish. And we'll keep this lobster for the actual bisque. Okay, now I'm going to add in the sherry. And we want to reduce it so it is about, let's see. This is the sherry we're going to add. It'll take about a couple minutes. We want to make sure that it's cooked down to maybe almost all of it's evaporated. So a couple minutes. Okay, we'll let that cook. For a couple minutes. Let the sherry break down till it's almost evaporated. Should take like 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, so while you have a little bit of time, if you haven't already diced your celery, go ahead and do that. Celery, and that's it. Dice your onions and also the mushrooms. Man, I'm having a hard time today. Okay, so again, what we're doing here is we're making a stock, like a lobster stock. Okay, let it. All right. Once that is almost evaporated, we're going to take a couple of bay leaves. I'm going to use this black peppercorn. And then also we're going to put in our celery. So get that ready. And then I didn't pull it out, but I'm just going to put in just a little bit of this minced garlic. Okay, it's almost all evaporated. Almost. This is going to make a nice stock for the base of our bisque. And So not only could you make lobster bisque, but you could do a shrimp bisque if you wanted. Um, just giving you some seafood options. You could also put some scallops in there if you wanted. Um, but we're just going to stick with the lobster today. Okay, so it's almost all evaporated. So what we're going to do is add in our celery. And this is about half a cup celery. Gonna add in the bay leaves. And I'm gonna put in the rest of this garlic. I took about 5 garlic cloves and minced it before we started. It's smelling quite nice. And then we're going to let that simmer for a minute. But then I have about 4 cups of water right here. I'm going to add, and we're going to bring it to a boil and let it simmer down to maybe like 2 cups. Okay. I should have gotten another skillet. Let's see. All right. Let's add in the 4 cups of water. And, like I said, bring it to a boil. And we're just going to let that simmer and boil until it cooks down to, like I said, about 2.5 cups of liquid. All right. I think what we'll do is let me get another, I'm going to get another skillet, and just so I can continue cooking and show you part 2 of this. Okay, while this is simmering down to about 2.5 cups, we're going to start our vegetable component of this. So we're going to take about 2 tablespoons of butter, and we are going to cook down and saute onions and our carrots. So it's about, let's see, I did one whole onion, but I don't think we're going to need all of it. So I'm going to use half of this, which is about, I guess 3/4 of a cup of onions that we were going to use. And then we're going to add in carrots. It's about a half a cup of carrots. We'll take that, saute it. You want to make them kind of small because you want the vegetables to be soft. So we'll use about a half a cup of carrots. And then the same with, I did some mushrooms. So about a half a cup. We won't use all of these. But we just want this for the flavor. And then we're going to add in a little bit of salt, as well as some cayenne pepper and regular black pepper. So make these so they are soft. We're going to saute them. So you want it on medium heat, medium flame rather. And this is cayenne pepper. You can do it to your liking, about a teaspoon or so, and then a little bit of salt, about half a teaspoon. And again, you want your vegetables to be soft. So that's why I actually cut my carrots in smaller pieces, so they would cook down a little bit quicker. So we'll let that cook. So that'll be about maybe 5 to 8 minutes. I'm going to add in just a little bit more butter. And then we have our white wine right here, ready to go once our vegetables cook down a little bit. You want to keep an eye, remember, on your lobster stock over here. So when you think it's about, smelling so good, about Oh yeah, this is about 2.5 cups of our stock. So we're going to take this, let's turn it off. We'll take this and we're going to strain out all the pieces, the pieces of it, and we're going to keep the actual liquid. So I have a strainer here, and we're just going to take all the big pieces out. We'll just put our strainer right there. You want to try not to waste any, like I am. But you don't want any of the pieces in your stock. Oh, that looks awesome. Okay. That's our lobster stock. We have a little bit more juice. We'll add that. Be careful. Okay, so this is cooking down nicely as well. And get all the liquid that you can out of here without the pieces. So a nice strainer that you have. Okay. So we're done with this part of the lobster. You never thought, huh, that you'd use a shell for stock. But if you look at this now, you'll see it's a nice stock and it's really very flavorful. You would be surprised what those shells, all the flavor that it holds. So we'll keep that off to the side while this is cooking. And it's getting pretty soft. Let's see. Needs to cook a little bit longer. But the flavor is there, and I'm going to add just a tad bit more. I feel the cayenne pepper, the kick coming through, but I'm going to put in a little bit more salt. And then my white wine. All right, so we're going to cook that. We're going to let it simmer and boil so it can cook a little bit longer. And then we are going to, I'm going to use a food processor, my Vitamixer here, to actually puree it down. But if you have an immersion blender, that's like the handheld one where you can actually put it in your pot or your skillet to actually blend it. I don't have one, so I'm going to use, like I said, the Vitamixer. You can use what you have at home as well. Okay. Let that cook a little bit longer. And let's see, we'll get everything ready. We have our lobster there. Okay, so I'm going to let that cook a little bit longer. Like I said, the carrots need to cook down some more. But once we finish this, I'm going to and add in or blend it together. We're going to do about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. And I use this out of the tube today, but sometimes if you have like a can of tomato paste at home, a can, then you can use that as well. But you're just going to thicken, it's here to thicken it up a little bit. Okay, so I wish I had the immersion blender. Maybe I'll have to treat myself with a new piece of equipment and go buy one. It would make this whole process a lot easier because I would just do it right here in the skillet or in your pot. But it's all good. We improvise here. So let me just make sure that this carrot is okay. So we're just going to add this to our Vitamixer so we can puree it down. And like I said, you can use a Vitamixer, you have a Ninja at home, any type of food processor. You just want it in, you want this part of the soup or the bisque to be pureed down. Got to put all of it in. Okay. Keep your skillet because once we get done with this part, we're going to actually put this back in a skillet and we're going to add in some heavy cream and some milk. Okay. All right, so we probably need to add just a little bit, or we'll just mix it up a little, because it's blending nicely. It just may need some oh, here we go. A little bit of the liquid. I'm just going to add, I'm going to cheat a little and add just a little bit of our lobster stock to this. It should loosen it up a little. We're going to use this anyways. So I'm just jumping the gun. Okay, so you want to, like I said, like a puree, if you've ever had lobster bisque or any type of soup, you don't want it chunky. You want it smooth. So if you need to add in more of your, looks like we need to add in just a little bit more of our lobster stock. All good. I need to do this a little bit. Okay. All right, and puree it a little bit longer. There we go. Okay. It's looking awesome. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. It looks very good. So we'll add this back to our skillet, or if you have a pot, that's fine. A Dutch oven to begin with, you could have used. I want to make sure we get everything. So what I'm going to do is, because we're going to take our stock now and add it to our pureed item. So I'm going to take just a little bit of that, just so I get all the goodness. I don't want to waste anything. And my staff knows that's money, because if you leave any of that ingredient in there, that's money just sitting there. So we're going to add in. Oh, yeah. Okay. And we'll add in the rest of our stock, our lobster stock. And we're just going to let this simmer for, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes or so. Just so it can get a little thick. We'll let it simmer. And then we're going to add in our heavy cream and milk. It's looking pretty good. While it's simmering, I'm going to actually add in some of the lobster pieces. Some that you kept, that you cut in the beginning. We're going to add at this point. Okay. All right, so we'll let that simmer, like I said, for about 5 minutes. I think I should add some more. Let me cut this. Like I said, on medium to high heat, if you have a numbered type of stove at home, probably like 7 or 8. Just gonna cut up a little bit more since it's here. I was gonna use some for garnish, but we'll just add it right now. Okay. Looking pretty good. Oh yeah, look at that. I love it already. Okay. And we'll add in, this is like 3/4 cup of milk. I'm going to use just a little bit less because I'm not a fan of whole milk, but you can add whole milk. It's a lot more fat and a lot more dairy. Some of us can't have all that dairy. So I'd rather have my dairy in heavy cream because that tastes good. Tastes a lot better than milk. So I'm going to add in my heavy cream. Okay. And let this, like I said, simmer for another, I would say 5 minutes or so. We want it to thicken up, and it'll do that as it's simmering right here. So we'll let that simmer. Let me just make sure that the flavor. Sometimes you just gotta pat yourself on the back. I think I'm gonna pat myself on the back because this is really good. I just want it to get a little thicker, and like I said, that'll do that when it's sitting here simmering. So while it is simmering, I'm going to get our bowl ready for the final plating. Now with lobster bisque, I mean, you can have that really as your own meal. But some people will have it with a salad. You too can have it with a salad. You can have it with a sandwich. But this is going to be filling in itself because of the lobster. And then, of course, because you have the dairy, the whole milk, and the heavy cream. So this is almost good to go. And then I have chives ready. You want to garnish it with chives. And let's let it simmer a little bit longer because I know it's going to be good. And we will be good to go. So I'm excited. I've been showing you guys a lot of different soups, warm weather, or not warm weather, cold weather type of food. So if you haven't checked out the chicken noodle soup, you got to do that. Let's see, tomato basil we did from scratch as well, all homemade. Now you can add the lobster bisque to your repertoire of recipes. And this is going to be amazing too. Maybe not this portion because it's going to be a big bowl of lobster bisque, but you can actually serve this as an appetizer type soup or bisque rather for a dinner that you may have at your home or any type of an event because it's filling. Smaller portion, of course. Let's see, if we were doing it at an event or a dinner party, I would probably maybe half the size of this bowl. We could serve our lobster bisque because again, you're going to have other courses, other items in like your entree, dessert. So we don't need to fill up on the lobster bisque. But again, you can have this as your own meal too. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we are good to go. Look at this. If you wanted it to be a little bit thicker, that's no problem. You can actually just let it simmer a little bit longer. And one other solution to that, and when we did our pureeing or the immersion blender, don't blend it as much. So leave it a little bit thicker and then you will have a thicker base type of bisque. All right, but for today, we are good to go. And you know what? Let's make a smaller portion. Well, no, let's see. We can have a larger portion. So we're going to. Whoever's going to eat this will be happy, I'm sure. All those nice pieces of lobster. And of course, I would have a ladle. I just don't have it with me right here. But this is good to go. And then we're going to, like I said, garnish it with the lobster that we had. And then also these chives. So we'll take the chives. And then, remember that lobster piece that we had? This is a nice piece, so. Bam. I know it's a little bit longer than our normal recipes, but this looks amazing, and I think you'll enjoy it. So again, thanks for joining us today. Cooking with Sharon. We'll see you the next time.